Hello, book people. Welcome to or welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Brianna, if you didn't know, and it feels like it has been so long since I just sat down and did like a little reading vlog because we had Bookmas, so there's a ton of videos for that, and then just like end of the year and beginning of the year videos to film and get uploaded. So I am very excited to just do like a little cozy and chill reading vlog, and that's really all this is gonna be, you guys. I'm not reading like a specific category of books or anything. It's not like a challenge. I am literally just cozying up. One, because it is very, very cold in Minnesota. We don't have a ton of snow right now, but it has been in the negatives the past few days, so I definitely just want to cozy up with a good book, wrap myself in a blanket, be in that kind of vibe. And then second of all, I just want to get through some books on my TBR, so that's what we're gonna do. I do have some books picked out that I would like to get through this week, next week perhaps, but like it's not a set TBR, a set goal that I want to get through these books. Like I just picked them out. I was like, oh, this sounds like it could be good right now. So I guess it's kind of mood reading, kind of also just a cozy vlog. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. I am really happy to get back into like making reading vlogs because they're probably my favorite ones to make, especially when there is some type of challenge or something to do. I just think those are really fun and they hold me more accountable to read specific books on my TBR shelves. I will go ahead and show you some of the books that I have in mind for this week and probably the first one that we're gonna start. So we have P.S. I Hate You by Lauren Connolly. I think this was my book of the month pick for November and I have not gotten around to it yet. I think this one's gonna be more like a sad contemporary romance. I just thought it sounded good right now. Again, like something that would be good to cozy up with because it's gonna be very, well, it might be gut-wrenching and heartbreaking, but also heartwarming, And we have Fear the Flames, which I feel like I'm kind of leaning toward this one because I just finished my reread of Fourth Wing to prepare for Onyx Storm coming out. And I just feel like I'm in kind of the mood for another romantasy with dragons, which, if you can see this gold foiling dragon, stunning. But I'm like, I don't know if I should give myself a little break with like a romance or something before I jump right into another romantasy with dragons in it. Then we have Six Scorched Roses. This is the novella for Serpent and the Wings of Night series, duology, whatever it is. I have not read those books, well, the first book is the only one I read since November, so I think this would be good to ease back into that world because I would like to finish it up. And this would just be a super quick little novella. I've heard the novella is really good, and also I say quick even though the first book took me like 2 weeks to read. But that was also because I wasn't really interested in it, but I've heard this novella is really, really good. And then for the book that I am most inclined to start right now, it is All the Missing Pieces by Catherine Cowles. Actually, as I'm filming this book comes out tomorrow. I was sent an early copy by the author, so I'm so grateful for that. But you guys could definitely pick it up now that it is out by the time I'm posting this video. And oh, also, sprayed edges, so pretty. I am just obsessed with the cover of this book. I think it's gorgeous. And this one sounds really, really interesting because the main character in it is a podcaster, like a true crime podcaster. And she's in this small town and she's trying to solve this mystery within the town. And I think she like teams up with the sheriff in town. And there's also a three-legged cat. So it's romance, but also suspenseful and has a mystery around it. So I think that's super interesting. And I thought this would be fun because it's not like strictly a romance, but it's also not like strictly a mystery, so it would be a good little mix of both of them. So then I could still read like another romance or another mystery after, probably. I don't know, I think I want to start this one just because it would be a good palate cleanser, if you will, after Fourth Wing. Usually I would just pick up a super fluffy rom-com or something for a palate cleanser after a fantasy book, but I think this one sounds really good, so I think I'm going to start this. So let's just get cozy and reading for today's video. Alrighty guys, I am just hopping on with a quick little reading update since I am probably going to be done reading for the day. I've just been like snuggled up with my cats and just trying to get some reading done. I've been reading it physically and like on an e-reader, so kind of switching back and forth, and I made it to chapter 20. I feel like I definitely could have gotten a lot more of this read today because it's going super quick. I was just getting distracted, frankly, and that's on me. That is what always happens when I try and sit down and read. But we are making good headway. I think it's like probably a third of the way through the book, maybe a little bit more than that. And like I said, it's very fast paced. It's very, very interesting. I'm really liking it. It's about the main character, Ridley. I feel like her name is a little out there, so I was blanking on it because, like, Ridley, I don't know, that's just not a name that I think of. And in the prologue of the book, we find out that Ridley has a twin sister, Avery. They are going to be graduating college the next day, and that night, Avery goes missing. So then we flash forward 5 years, and Ridley is now this true crime podcaster. She has an amazing following. Like, millions of people follow her and her podcast because she looks into these cases and she tries to solve them. She tries to help these victims of crimes, and it's really amazing what she's doing. And now she has traveled to Shady Cove in California because there was a kidnapping, I think like 10 years ago it said, or somewhere around that. I don't know if it's 10 for sure. But there was a kidnapping and the girl escaped from the kidnapper, but Ridley thinks that this kidnapper has kidnapped dozens more women throughout the years. So she wants to basically interview this girl that escaped and see if they can find who this kidnapper is. So now enter the town sheriff, Colt, and he does not like Ridley. Ridley doesn't really like him. They get off to a bad start, but Ridley obviously thinks like, okay, this would be easier if I had the help of the town sheriff. And the town sheriff, like, also has a reason for this kidnapper wanting to be caught. I think it's very interesting. There's not really any romance yet, but I don't even care because the mystery and suspense around it all is enough for me. Like, it feels like a Good Girl's Guide to Murder, but more mature, which makes sense because a Good Girl's Guide to Murder is YA and this is adult. So I'm really liking that. I can definitely see myself finishing up this book tomorrow, especially if I actually hold myself accountable and read instead of doing other stupid things that I shouldn't be doing. And I will, of course, keep on popping in with little reading updates here and there. Maybe like one more reading update at the end, or I might have a few more. I don't know, but I'm really liking this so far. I would definitely recommend it so far, but we will just have to see how the ending plays out. But yeah, I'll probably see you guys tomorrow when I'm back reading this. Alright, you guys, I just finished All the Missing Pieces by Catherine Cowles. It is the next day, and I just have been reading this morning and into this afternoon, and this book is so good. I really loved it. This is my first ever Catherine Cowles book, and I would definitely be interested to read more of them if they are along the same lines of being like kind of a mystery and suspenseful with romance more as like a subplot, because that's really what I would say, and I'm not mad about it. As I'm speaking, the release day for this book is today, but by the time this video goes up, this book will probably have been out for a few weeks. So if you haven't already gotten your hands on it, I would definitely recommend doing so, because I feel like this is just one you're gonna want to pick up and you're not gonna be able to put down until you finish it. Again, this would be perfect for lovers of Good Girl's Guide to Murder or Listen for the Lie. I literally felt like I was listening to a podcast throughout this book, throughout reading it, because it was just that immersive, and Catherine Cowles is a really talented author, and just the way she was able to pick you up and put you in the story. With that being said, though, this is an adult book. This is romancy. There are a few spice scenes, so keep that in mind. I really enjoyed the romance between Ridley and Colt, Ridley being the podcast host and Colt being the town sheriff. It is like grumpy sunshine. It's kind of an enemies to lovers because, again, they get off on the wrong foot, but they are having to continue to work together more frequently, and they're in much close quarters now because of something that has happened in the book. So their relationship is just growing. Ridley has been staying in the town for a few months working on this case. She's still trying to piece together who this person is who has been going all over the country and abducting and killing women. Things get very juicy. Definitely had some thriller vibes, more so than just mystery, I would say as well, just because there are some very intense and graphic things happening, so please keep that in mind as well. But I did really love this. I gave it a 4-star rating. The only reason I lowered my rating a little bit was because obviously with a mystery suspense, you are expecting some mystery suspense things to happen, like plot twists here and there all throughout the book. Really, we're learning new information, and some of it I did kind of figure out. I don't know, I don't want to say like I fully figured out the book, but I was definitely onto something. Some things didn't come as a huge surprise to me as a reader, but even though I did figure out some of those things, I still really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the overall reveal at the end, and overall I would just only have positive things to say about this book. So I'm really glad we picked this one up for the first book of this video because it was a great book to cozy up with. Again, I feel like with mysteries and thrillers and such, you just want to cuddle up in a blanket and just binge read the whole book in one sitting to get to the bottom of the mystery in the book, and this did the perfect job. And again, I love the romance in it as well, but I really love the mystery. I love the true crime podcast aspect of it. Like, it was so fun. It was so heartwarming. It was very sad at times because of what Ridley has went through with her sister and all these emotions and feelings coming back up all the time when she is pouring her heart into this creative outlet that is trying to get justice for her sister and other victims. Anywho, I am rambling now. What I was going to say is this book really put me in kind of like a thriller mood. Again, great to cozy up with, but this book just did it. So I decided that for the next book that I want to read, I want it to be another like mystery or thriller. So I went with His and Hers by Alice Feeney. I have read one Alice Feeney book, and that is Beautiful Ugly. That one actually also, I think, comes out today as I'm filming this, or maybe comes out next week as I'm filming this, but it should be out by the time you guys are watching this video. And I really enjoyed that. I felt like she had my mind reeling like throughout the book, but especially at the end. And I love when a thriller can do that to me, where I am just like taken aback and have to sit and stare at the wall. And it was also kind of sinister. I was definitely spooked out, creeped out. So if all of her thrillers are like that, this will definitely be great for this video and cozying up with, as it's cold outside and I don't want to do anything that has to do with leaving the house. I think His and Hers is about a marriage, or definitely a couple. Hi guys, it is me from the future in like 15 minutes when I am starting His and Hers, and it is not between a couple. I don't think. I've only read like 3 chapters, I think, and it's about a newswoman and then a detective. Don't know what the correlation is between them yet, but I don't think it's about a couple. Just wanted to pop in and say that. And something happens with them, some sort of story, and then there are 2 sides of the story that we get to read about, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. You guys know I go into most of my books blindly, but of course I will give you an update as I get into it a little bit more and I can tell you what it is about. But people have said that this is their favorite Alice Feeney book, and I feel like it's not even really a competition. Like, she has other popular books such as Rock, Paper, Scissors. I don't know all of her titles off the top of my head right now, but this one wins by a landslide. So I'm really hopeful because I already loved Beautiful Ugly, and I haven't heard too many things about that one yet, even though I thought it was really good. Maybe her fans didn't like it as much as His and Hers. So I'm going to start this. It is on Kindle Unlimited. We'll see how fast I can get through this. Honestly, this Kindle, perfect for cozying up with because I can just get snug and read on here. So let's go do that. Okay, guys, I have been reading His and Hers by Alice Feeney, and I am at 39%. There's not really like chapter numbers in this book, so all I have to give you is 39%. Page 119, I guess. So making very good headway there. It's a pretty, I don't know, it was kind of slow to start with. I feel like there was I don't know if I want to say filler, but things just felt like they kind of dragged on, and it'll all probably come into play at the end, and everything will just like fall into place, and all that stuff that seemed like it was just filler or it was dragging on will actually play an important role in the book, I'm assuming. But like as of right now, and when I was reading it earlier, I just did not care about it that much. But a little bit more about what this book is about, since I know a little bit more, is it's about Anna, who is like a news reporter, and Jack, who is a detective. And there is a body found of Rachel, I don't know what her last name is, I can't remember. But Jack and Anna both know Rachel for different reasons, but like they both know her, have had interactions with her, so they're both kind of suspicious in their own ways around this death. Not that, like, the cops or anything are thinking of them as suspicious, but just, like, you as the reader reading Jack's POV and then Anna's POV about the murder and about a lot of other stuff, honestly, that I can't tell you without any spoilers, but I feel like there has been a decent amount of points where I am surprised at a reveal of something, so that's really good. Always want that in a thriller book. And even though it was a little slow earlier, I do feel like it's definitely picking up now. A lot more stuff with this murder case is being, I don't want to say revealed, but things are just definitely picking up a little bit. And I am definitely a lot more interested in the story at this point. And the whole book has went pretty fast, even though I said it was a slower start. Like, it's still short chapters. It's still entertaining enough to be, like, fast-paced. Like, I'm not going to put the book down and not pick it back up because it's that slow. It's just like, okay, when are we going to get to the really good stuff of the book, if that makes sense? Honestly, I wish I could give you more information because I feel like that's not a lot to go off of. Obviously, when I finish the books, I will give you my final thoughts and if I recommend the book. Right now, it does seem pretty good. I will say right now, I am not enjoying it as much as I was enjoying Beautiful Ugly at like the same 40% mark in the book. I feel like that one just picked up and went immediately. And the whole time I was kind of suspicious of everything. But in this book, I feel like I'm not quite as suspicious. Like this book, I really don't have a general idea where it's headed, but I'm definitely going to keep reading because I want to find out, and I feel like that's a good thriller right there. But I'm probably going to be done reading for today, so I'll probably be back tomorrow with some more reading and maybe my final update on this book if I finish it. According to my Kindle, I have 20 minutes left of his and hers, so let's finish this book together. Alright guys, I finished His and Hers by Alice Feeney. I needed to take a moment to gather my thoughts on the book because I'm feeling a little bit conflicted. I guess I'll just start with telling you guys a little bit more about this book. So I had told you that it's about Jack, who is this detective, and then Anna, who is this news reporter. So this woman, Rachel, is murdered, and then Jack, being the detective, is working the case, and then Anna, being a news reporter, is also working on the case to, like, you know, present the news on it, get all the information on it so that the news can tell people what's going on. So Jack and Anna keep crossing paths because they're both working on this case. More people end up getting murdered that all, like, kind of have a connection with both Anna and Jack. So it's just all interconnected. It is all tangled up in this, like, web of secrets and lies about all these characters. And when we read Anna's POV, we get some glimpses into her past. It's not like every chapter that of her POV that we get some past information, but I feel like it is pretty frequently. Once you get to, like, that 50% way, it definitely picks up a little bit more. You learn more about her history with these people that are winding up murdered, and then Jack is still, like, working on all of these cases with the murdered individuals. So that is all very interesting. I did really like that because a lot of times it had me guessing, like, I don't know what could really be going on, but it could just be anyone. Like, everyone at this point feels suspicious. Everyone that we've been introduced to in the book so far seems like they could have something to do with these murders. And the reason why I'm so conflicted with my feelings about this book is because I did guess quite a few of the major plot twists very, very early on. I was actually reading this book at the same time as one of my friends, so we were texting last night, we were texting today about it, and I think I was at, like, the 40% mark last night when I texted her about it. I literally texted her, like, what if it's this person? And guess what? It was that person. Like, that is the big final reveal at the end. So to me, like, it doesn't feel satisfying because I guessed it, and I'm like, should I be satisfied with myself for being able to guess that plot twist, or is it okay for me to feel disappointed that, like, the thriller book wasn't really good enough, I guess, because I feel like when I am reading a thriller, I don't want to guess the plot twist. I want to be absolutely shocked. So that's kind of how I'm feeling right now. And then I think again at like the 50% point, I guessed another one of the huge plot twists that is revealed pretty far into the book, probably at like 80% of it, 85, I can't remember exactly. But I guessed a lot of things. And I feel like that is just kind of disappointing for me. Not to say that it was really a bad book, it was very entertaining. It kept me on the edge of my seat because I wanted to find out what was actually going to happen. And even with the reveal at the end of like being the person who I thought it was, there were still some other things that were revealed, like why this person did it. So that was still a little satisfying to me, I guess, but I'm just like so confused as to what to rate this book because I did enjoy reading it. It was very, very fast paced. I finished it in 24 hours, so obviously I liked it. Obviously I wanted to pick it up and keep reading it, but just because I feel like it was very predictable and the plot twists were not twisting as I feel like they should in a thriller, I don't know if I'm gonna do like a 3-star rating because I can see why people would say they love this book, but I don't. I think obviously I would like it more if I didn't guess everything, but that is just taking it away from me, I guess, a little bit, if that makes any sense. So I think right now I'm gonna land with a 3-star rating. I can definitely give you guys another update when my friend finishes the book to hear her thoughts. Because again, like we've been texting back and forth about everything. So I don't know how she's gonna feel exactly if she has some of these things figured out as well. But obviously, like, I was texting her all of my thoughts throughout this. I was texting her these plot points that ended up being the real plot twist. So I feel kind of bad for that too, because I'm like, I don't want that to take away from her reading experience. Even though I was totally doing it in like a non-spoiler way, I was literally just telling her what I was thinking, what was going through my head as I was reading some of the stuff. Oh, I would also like to say, for being a thriller book, it did have quite a few sweet moments between Anna and Jack because they also have like a history together. So I thought that was kind of refreshing, honestly. It kind of took you out of the book for a moment, I would say, just because you're like, whoa, this is actually like kind of sweet, and you just don't expect that in a thriller. And also, this book is very sexual, very graphic with it for being a thriller. And also, there is sexual assault all throughout the book, really. So, I just want to warn you about that. Any trigger warnings? I mean, obviously, like, the book is about murder. There's going to be graphic, violent things, but just so everyone is aware, there is sexual assault and sexual violence throughout the book. So I did think that those aspects were kind of unique for a thriller. I don't know. I'm probably still going to be stewing on my thoughts a little bit, so obviously I will tell you any of them, and when my friend finishes the book, I will also hop back on and give you an update about that. But I think for the next book, I'm going to start P.S. I Hate You by Lauren Connolly. Not 100% sure what this book is about, other than it's two exes who are going on a road trip together because the female main character's brother has just passed away, and his last wish was that the sister and his best friend would go on this road trip together to see all these destinations that he's never going to be able to. And the sister and best friend are exes. So I feel like this is definitely going to have a lot of sad moments just because of the passing of the main character's brother. Obviously, there's probably going to be some grief in here, but also romance. So I feel like it will definitely be lighter than the thrillers or mysteries that we have been reading, but also still pretty emotional. I think this, along with a mystery or thriller, is kind of something good to cozy up with because it is so heartwarming. It's not just a fluffy rom-com that you don't really care about that much. It's actually going to pack a punch with it. So I really like that. So I think I'm just gonna start reading this and then I'll pop back on with a few updates in a little while. Good morning, guys. It is the next day from the last clip that you saw where I was going to start P.S. I Hate You, and I didn't get too far into this one yesterday. I think I got like 80-ish pages, 85 pages into the book, so it was definitely like a decent start, but it's a pretty big book, so even after reading for a little bit this morning so far, I don't have like a ton of headway, but I am enjoying it so far. It's definitely not as sad as I thought it was going to be, because this book is about Josh, who has just passed away. Like, the book literally starts at Josh's wake, and his sister Maddie and his best friend Dom are both there, and they're like going over the will reading, or I don't know like the actual terms for these things, but they're basically going over the will reading, and Maddie and Dom learn that they're going to have to go to 8 destinations together that Josh wanted to see before he died, but he never got to. So now he wants his sister and his best friend to basically fulfill that dream for him now that he has passed away, and spread his ashes in all of those destinations, because he was a huge traveler. I think he was like a travel photographer, like that was his job. So obviously he's been to a lot of places, but these 8 places in the United States, I'm pretty sure, were places that he had never been yet, so he wanted his sister and his best friend to go. And Maddie and Dom do not really like each other. I want to say though, it's more so like Maddie not liking Dom because they have a past from like, I don't know how many years ago exactly, let's just say anywhere between 5 to 10 years ago. Dom is the same age as Josh, who is Maddie's older brother, so he's a few years older than Maddie. And I think when Maddie was 19, her and Josh, or not her and Josh, Josh is her brother, her and Dom had like a summer fling, and then Dominic basically ended up choosing another girl than Maddie and actually ended up marrying that girl. But now he's not married anymore. I'm just gonna say that because I was really thrown off at first when I started this book and I learned that Dom was married, because Maddie thought he was still married, and I was like, oh no, I do not want to read a book if there's like cheating involved, if Dom is still married and he's going on these trips with Maddie. Like, I do not want to read a book like that. So in case you guys also do not want to read a book like that, don't worry, he is no longer married. So that we do learn pretty quickly in the book, like before the 80-page mark I was at, so I don't really consider that too spoilery. Plus, I just want you guys to know if that is something that would bother you as well, since it's something that would really bother me, just personal preference wise. But so yeah, I mean, I feel like not too much is happening yet. They are starting to like go to these destinations that Josh left for them to go to. Again, Maddie doesn't really like Dominic because he basically, like, it was kind of like a situationship in my head when I was reading about it, and then he ended up leaving her for another girl. So like, I totally get why Maddie would not like him, but I feel like Dom doesn't hate her like she hates him. I feel like Dom definitely has romantic feelings for her again. Like, they've been in each other's lives their whole lives, because Josh and Dom had been friends for forever, and then Maddie was always like the little sister tagging along when they were doing things. So I am liking it. I think it'll definitely be more interesting as they're traveling more places and they're feelings and just relationship in general, whether it's friendship or not, is just developing more over time. We are getting more of their past together, because at this point I'm like, Maddie, I know you were probably in love with Dom, like your whole childhood and everything, like crushed like that. And then when he finally had an interest in you and crushed you, like I get it, but also it's been years and years. I don't know. I'm just like, why do we hate him so much? So that's my little update on P.S. I Hate You. And I said that I would give you guys an update if my friend finished His and Hers by Alice Feeney, since that was the book I finished yesterday. And she did end up finishing it, and she is also kind of underwhelmed by it, just because she did guess some more of the twists as well. Like, I just feel like it was very predictable, and she also thought it was very, very weird, which it is. Like, that book is wild. Like, there are so many insane things happening, so many just like weird, sick and twisted things revealed throughout the book. And it's like, you're kind of cringing at it, because you're like, this is like so bad. Like, not that it's a bad book, but it's just terrible things happening in the book. So she was also kind of underwhelmed by it. I just wanted to let you guys know that, so like you have my perspective and you have kind of another person's perspective on it as well. We both gave it a 3-star rating. So would I recommend it? Maybe, but I'm not gonna sit here and say like, oh my gosh, it's an amazing thriller, because again, for me, I don't think a thriller should be that predictable. But we have very, very cozy vibes going on this morning. The sunrise this morning was beautiful. One good thing about Minnesota in the winter is the sunrise and sunsets are usually stunning, because they're a lot more pink. I don't know if it has to do with like the cold temperature or what, but I love the pink sunrises and sunsets. They're just my favorite when it's like cotton candy vibe. I love it. So I've just been sitting here sipping on my coffee, reading my book, watching the sunrise. The heater just turned on, so now I can sit on that and warm up. So we have some very good vibes going this morning. Love the cozy vibes. I also, have a cat sitting right by me right there. So it's a good morning. So I am probably just gonna keep reading away for a little bit, and I'll probably pop back on with another update. I'll probably do a few updates throughout this book, just because it is pretty long. I think it's like 450-ish pages, around there. So a pretty thick romance book. So I'll definitely be giving more updates, I think, than the other 2 books, just because those 2 were pretty short. But since this one's longer, we probably want a few more updates along the way. So I'll probably be back with another update on P.S. I Hate You in a little while. Alrighty guys, back with another update. I apologize if the lighting's a little bad. I am currently down in my dungeon basement, just in like the window well lighting, and it started snowing. So there's no sunlight or anything really. It's just like gray light coming in, but I don't know if you'll be able to see her. Oh, there you can kind of see her at the end of the bed, I think. Pumpkin is sleeping down here in bed, so I was just snuggled up with her for a little bit, reading some more of P.S. I Hate You. And I am now about halfway through the book, and I'm still enjoying it, still liking it. We are definitely seeing glimpses into the past a little bit about Maddie and Dom's relationship. We are getting glimpses into Maddie's relationship with her brother Josh, and that kind of brings me to my next point, is this book is definitely a lot funnier than I thought it would be, just because the overall premise of the book sounds like it's going to be sad, right? It sounds like it's going to be more mournful because Maddie just lost her brother to cancer, and Dom just lost his best friend to cancer. So you really think it's going to be more of a sad read, but it definitely is more heartwarming, and it's more funny because Maddie and Josh didn't have like good family. They basically only had each other for family because their mom was horrible, their dad left, and then their grandma that they were like raised by did a terrible job raising them. So Maddie and Josh have a really, really good relationship because of that, and they use humor a lot to cope in their relationship. Like, they're always joking around with each other, and even Josh, like, from the grave is still joking around in these letters that Maddie and Dom get to read when they're traveling to all these different places. So it literally has me laughing. It is really sweet, really funny, and I don't know, I think it's just very beautiful to show that grief, and even though someone has passed away, you can still like live for them, if that makes any sense. I'm really liking that aspect to it. Like I said, we are getting glimpses into Maddie and Dom's relationship too, like the little fling that they had over the summer. We're getting more info on that here and there. I feel like the romance is definitely picking up, but this isn't like an overly romancy read for sure. I feel like it reminds me of people we meet on vacation with Alex and Poppy, how they're the best of friends, they're traveling together all the time, but now there's like this rift between them and this tension, but they're going on a vacation together again, and it's kind of like mending their relationship. That is the vibes that I get from Maddie and Dom with this, and I don't know, I'm definitely enjoying it. It is just reading more of like contemporary fiction rather than romance, which that is totally fine. I don't know if this is even classified as romance, so I don't mind it at all to not like be so romance heavy, because at the end of the day, I think this is supposed to be Maddie's story around her feelings after her brother passes away. So obviously it's not supposed to be like super romance driven, but there is that history between her and Dom and feelings that are coming up again, and Maddie is like, well, maybe Josh wanted me and Dom to go on these trips together so that we could like rekindle our friendship that we used to have but haven't had in years because of what happened between them. Also, I think the whole travel aspect of this book is super fun because they're going to all these places and they're like describing these places that they're going to. I don't know if they're real places, like names of shops and towns and stuff that are actually in the US, but it's just fun getting to read about it and like their adventures there, and I just feel like their relationship overall is building up. There was tension, but now it's more so becoming banter. So I really, really like that. Obviously, there's a lot of years of history between them. So, but yeah, I am probably just going to keep trying to chug away at this book today. Hopefully can get almost finished if I don't finish it, just because tonight I'm going to be busy. I have to go somewhere, and then tomorrow I might be gone like the whole day. So I wouldn't really have any reading time for this tonight and potentially all day tomorrow. So definitely want to try and get a lot of it done today, and I am enjoying it, so it's not like I'm forcing myself to read it. It is really sweet, and as of right now I definitely recommend it, but obviously I'll let you guys know my final thoughts. I'm just gonna get back to reading this. Alrighty guys, it is finally time to talk about P.S. I Hate You, because you just saw me finish it and cry because like it was a mixture of a happy crying at the end mixed with just like actually sad, because this book is sad to its roots. Like, it is about Maddie and her dead brother and Maddie's journey with grief, and also Maddie's journey just like figuring herself out, because her whole life Maddie has felt like everyone just leaves her. Like, her dad, her guardians for like not really wanting to raise her, Dom for choosing another girl over her, and now her brother for leaving her forever because he has passed away from cancer. So Maddie is really struggling with that, as well as just the passing of her brother, and now being reunited with Dom and having to be in these forced proximity situations with him and having to like share her grief with him. It is just a very, very emotional journey, but I did love it. Like, you just always need a book sometimes that is going to make you cry, but also make you feel good at the same time. Even though Josh is not alive in this book at all, other than like the memories that we see through characters, his presence is still so strong, and you can just love his character without him even being there in the present. And it's really so beautiful. I literally love one of the parts of this book because Maddie loves puzzles. Puzzles are actually like a big thing throughout the book. Like, they just keep on popping up. They keep on kind of revealing things. And Josh, being the sweetest brother alive, like ever to exist, he is this travel photographer, right? So he travels all around the world. And Maddie doesn't go with him, but he will like make one of his pictures that he has taken into a puzzle so that Maddie can have that and put it together, and then have that picture that her brother has taken, but still like something that she can do, something that she enjoys because she loves puzzles. And then a puzzle at the end of the book has like a big reveal in it, and that is really where it was like the happy crying for me, because I thought it was so sweet. Obviously, it's still very, very sad. The meaning behind it is just so sweet, and it really just wraps up the story in a whole. Again, like, a lot of things being revealed throughout the book, like literally puzzle pieces falling into place. That is the best way to put it, and I really loved it. I love how Maddie and Dom's relationship has evolved, not just like in these travel moments that they have together to spread Josh's ashes, but also since she was a teenager and she fell in love with him then, and now years later they're being reunited. I just love how their relationship evolved at first when Maddie was a teenager, how it's evolving now as she's in her 20s, and a very, very sweet sentiment at the end again. Something that I myself try to live by, but after reading about it, I feel like it just hits you harder, and I'm literally going to cry just thinking and talking about it again right now, because it is just, I believe that's something that everyone should live by, and I would definitely recommend this book. I am thinking on a 4.5-star rating. You're probably like, why is it not just a 5-star if you love it so much? And it obviously has you feeling very emotional. And the reason for that being is because I still did not like Dom's character in some moments. I don't know, you guys, just something about Dom's character. I like him now, but the way that he's been in the past, and I get it, like, people grow up, people mature, people evolve. Totally get that, but I feel like so much conflict could have just been avoided if there was actual good conversations, good communication happening between the characters. Like, there are so many things that all of these characters keep from each other. Like, Maddie's keeping things from her friend, from her brother, from Dom. Dom is keeping things from Josh and Maddie and his whole family, basically. And then there's other characters who are keeping these things from each other, and they're like big things. you know, that probably shouldn't be hidden. And if there's one thing about me, it's that I hate the miscommunication trope, because I just like hate any conflict that is avoidable, and that definitely has to do with my upbringing. So like that is a me problem. I get that some people don't really care about the miscommunication trope, and not that it's like unreadable in this book. I just even hate when there's like a little bit of it, but I feel like there was a decent amount of it in this book. So definitely warn you going into it there that there's definitely going to be miscommunication, but when it's an enemies to lovers second chance romance, you kind of assume that there's going to be some sort of miscommunication or some sort of conflict as to why they're no longer together, why they hate each other. So it makes sense, but I just hate miscommunication. But also, like, Dom's character at some points, I was like, do I love him present day? Yeah, I do. But younger him, not so much. So yeah, 4.5-star rating for this one. Would definitely recommend. And then I decided to pick up Everything We Never Said by Sloane Harlow after P.S. I Hate You, just because this one is a YA, like, very emotional, sad story. So because I'm kind of in my feels right now, this is what I was feeling. Again, I said we were kind of going to be doing mood reading in this reading vlog, because I picked out some books that I wanted to maybe read this week, and I have read 2 of them now, so that is pretty good. But just like after reading a certain thing, I'm then in more of a mood for that. So I'm like, okay, if this can break my heart again, I feel like I just kind of need that right now. So this one is about Ella, who I think is just starting her senior year of high school. Her best friend has just died, and Ella blames herself for the death of her best friend. And now Ella is having feelings for her best friend's boyfriend, Sawyer, after her best friend has passed away. I think it's dual POV with Ella and Sawyer. That's all I know so far, so I'll definitely continue to keep you updated on this one as well. I like that it's YA, just because then there won't be like spice or, I don't know, just like overly steamy scenes, which I don't need all the time. So it's kind of refreshing for me to read YA once in a while, so I don't have to worry about all that. Like, it can actually be an emotional connection instead of a physical one. And by the way, P.S. I Hate You, now that it's just like on my mind, does have some spice scenes in it. I don't know if I mentioned that at all before, but the romance does definitely pick up and get heavier as you get through the book more. But I just really liked Maddie's journey throughout it. Like, I'm not that I didn't like the romance. I love the romance between Maddie and Dom, and like finding each other through this terrible time in their lives. But overall, I really love Maddie's story and Maddie's journey with grief. I just wanted to point that out, that there is spice in P.S. I Hate You. But I'm excited to read Everything We Never Said. I have a really good friend, and she loved this book. She actually sent it to me from my wish list, so love her. And yeah, I'm really excited to read this. I will obviously give you guys updates here and there on it. Oh, as for cozy vibes that we have going on today, it has definitely been a cozy morning. It was kind of a late night for us last night. We were out having to do something, then got home pretty late and like ready for bed and everything pretty late. So this morning I woke up, and I keep my Kindle on my nightstand, so I just rolled over and read some of Iron Flame this morning to get ready for for the Onyx Storm release. I'm rereading Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, so just started Iron Flame, so that's what I did this morning, literally just like laying on my side reading my Kindle in bed this morning. And then when I eventually did get up and out of bed, it is comfy cozy day. I have my reading sweatshirt on that says just one more chapter, and then it says bookworm on the sleeve. I have my hair out of my face, so no overstimulation happening there. We are very, very cozy. It snowed yesterday, and I think it's kind of cold out today. I don't plan on going anywhere. I can tell you that much. I am just going to cozy up with my books all day, whether it's my Kindle or Everything We Never Said. So I'll see you guys reading. Alright, update on everything we never said. I am about halfway through on chapter 21, and it's just been about Ella and Sawyer, who are now like discovering their feelings for each other after Haley has passed away, and they both feel kind of guilty for liking each other because Sawyer is was Haley's boyfriend, and Ella was Haley's best friend before she died. And Ella is also really struggling just because she feels very responsible for Haley's death, and there are some people who do not make that any better for her. Like, they try to really solidify the fact that it is Ella's fault, so obviously that's not good. And also, Ella, because of like brain damage in the accident that happened, she doesn't remember what happened with the accident, like what happened before it, that whole night, and then how the accident went down. So she's really struggling with that as well, because she's like thinking it's her fault, but she can't know for sure because she can't remember, right? So now Sawyer enters, and from Sawyer's POV, it definitely seems like he had feelings for Ella when he was dating Haley, which I don't really like that, but he was like, all right. But then I feel like very recently something was revealed about Sawyer, like that happened with Haley and Sawyer, and I was like, dude just seems abusive and like controlling, manipulative. So I'm not really vibing with Sawyer anymore, and I feel like he's just putting on this fake front of being like really sweet and protective with Ella now. But the thing is, Ella has Haley's old diary, and Haley is writing things about her relationship with Sawyer in there. So Ella is like, I don't know if I should believe what Haley was writing in here, because like obviously I can't ask her now, because Sawyer just does not seem like that person with me. So I don't know. I'm not really vibing with Sawyer right now. Also, there's other things we learn about Haley. Like, she was acting really strange a few months up until she died, and her relationship with Sawyer wasn't great those last few months before she died. So it's like, okay, there's definitely got to be like some big reveal or twist as to why Haley was suddenly acting so different, suddenly wanted to distance herself from Sawyer, which, like, if he is actually like how he is in her diary, I can see why she would want to distance herself. But that is very intriguing, and honestly, I feel like that is what I've been most interested in. Also, this book is way steamier than I thought it would be for a young adult book. I'm not talking like Binding 13 young adult, but still, I was literally saying how I like reading YA sometimes because then it's not spicy, because I don't like overly spicy things when it's just a physical connection over an emotional one. I would way rather take an emotional connection any day. And while I do think that Ella and Sawyer have an emotional connection, and obviously they're both grieving Haley, it does seem just very physical as well. And they're also high schoolers, so like a lot of things are physical in high school because all those hormones going through teenagers. So I am a little bit disappointed with how steamy it is. I feel like that is a lot of their relationship, if you can even call it a relationship right now. I don't know, but I'm really interested to see what was going on with Haley the last few months before her death. That's what's interesting me the most right now, not really Sawyer and Ella's relationship. So hopefully I can finish it soon, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. I'll probably give you one last final update on this when I finish it. All right, you guys, as you saw last night, I finished Everything We Never Said. So I literally read this in under 12 hours, I think, because I think I started it around noon yesterday and then I finished it at like 10 o'clock at night. And obviously I didn't just like read it in one sitting. I read it throughout chunks in the day. So it is a very fast-paced, entertaining read. Wow, this one very much surprised me because I fully went into this expecting like a YA romance. It was going to be very emotional because their feelings around it are very mixed because of Haley's death and they feel guilty about it. But there is actually so much more mystery and suspense to this book than I was expecting. Like, I would full on say it is a YA suspenseful romance because it is that heavy on the suspense, and I loved it. And I truly thought I had this book figured out. I was like, oh, that's the plot twist. And I did guess a few of the plot twists. Like, I thought they were the major plot twists, but they were definitely a little bit more minor. And the major plot twists, I was shocked. Like, I don't know for sure if I recorded my reaction to those, but I was texting my friend who has read this book all of my thoughts throughout it, and then when I was like getting to the points of the major plot twist toward the end, and I was like, what is happening? So I was very, very pleasantly surprised there. It just keeps following Ella and Sawyer. You know, after the death of Haley, Ella is discovering more of these things about Sawyer, and she is really like trying to get to the bottom of it, I guess you could say, and pieces of the puzzle just fall into place at the end of this book, and I loved it. I gave it a 4-star rating. Like, do I think some of the plot twists were definitely predictable? Yes. And does it seem like there may be a few plot holes with some of those plot twists? Yes. But overall, still very enjoyable. Still definitely had me shocked by some of the stuff at the end, so I would definitely recommend this. And let's just quickly go over all of the other books I read for this cozy reading vlog. I started off with All the Missing Pieces by Catherine Cowles, and this is another suspenseful romance that I also gave a 4-star rating. This one really felt like a Good Girl's Guide to Murder, but a little bit more mature, a little bit spicy. And then I read His and Hers by Alice Feeney, and I was definitely disappointed by this one just because a lot of people say it is their favorite Alice Feeney book, and I just thought it was so predictable and the very weird stuff happening throughout it, and I gave this one a 3-star rating. And then I read P.S. I Hate You by Lauren Connolly. This is a really emotional enemies to lovers second chance romance that revolves around grief a lot of the book, and this one was a truly beautiful story. Again, I love Maddie and Dom's relationship throughout it, but I also just love Maddie's healing journey throughout it, and I gave this one a 4.5-star rating. And then Everything We Never Said, which is another suspenseful romance that I gave a 4-star rating. I think that all of these books were perfect to cozy up with because they were kind of suspenseful, little mystery and thriller to them. And then also we had such heartwarming moments. Like, 2 of the books had to do with grief and a loved one passing away, and then 3 of them were mystery thrillers. So I just think that is so perfect to cozy up with. I would definitely recommend all of them. Even though I only gave His and Hers a 3-star rating, I would still recommend it to try out, but it definitely wasn't my favorite. So I hope you guys enjoyed reading and cozying up with some books with me this week. Again, they're all perfect to cozy up with during this cold, snowy week. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please, please, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would seriously appreciate it so much. I post new bookish videos every single week, at least once a week, if not more. I really love doing reading vlogs, but I also do other videos like book shopping, book hauls, book recommendation videos, anything like that. And I'm also open to any suggestions for videos that you want to see in the comments, and just feel free to comment anything you would like, honestly. Any critiques, any suggestions, just any comments in general. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!